Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff, Alison McConnell and Tam McManus are with me here on this Monday. Thank you to you for joining us as ever. The figures have been absolutely fantastic over 2024 and in 2025 your support is greatly needed. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. You can join the football family. If you want all the breaking news at your fingertips, then why not download the app as well? You'll get all our unique video content as well as a chance to scroll down, and you can get yourself a great deal at Arnold Clark on that app as well. So, lots to talk about. Gers fans boo the Bears that walk out of Ibrox. Kyogo's at the double as Celtic maintain that 15-point advantage with a big win up at Ross County. Hibs close in on Motherwell and Aberdeen in that top six. Adewumi has extended his stay at Dens Park, and Calvin Ramsey is on loan at Kilmarnock. We'll discuss those deals as well as looking back over the football over the weekend. Scottish Premiership results. Here's how it all panned out over Saturday and Sunday. Possibly your favourite team. Ross County 1, Celtic 4, Hibs 3, Motherwell 1, St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1, Aberdeen 0, Hearts 0, Rangers 3, St Johnstone 1. That's how it all panned out. All eyes were on Ibrox. It was a convincing win in the end. 3 quick goals in the first half settled everybody's nerves, but there were a lot of empty seats. And this was the scene in the 55th minute of the match when the Union Bears decided that they wanted to leave the ground. And I think a lot of Rangers fans who really were there just to support the team through thick and thin booed Ruffy, the Union Bears, for leaving on the 55th minute.
Yeah, and it just shows you that I think they're really good supporters, want to support their team through thick and thin. Yeah, everybody's got a right to protest. There's a manner which you could do it. I would have rather they just never went to the game, and just stayed away rather than disrupting the game. All right, Rangers were winning quite easy, but it could have been a game that could have been tense, and getting right behind your team helps you to get you through that. So they've made the protest. The chairman has said that he said his piece, he's going to be here unless something really, really drastic happens. So I think the majority of the supporters in the stadium want to get behind the team.
Can you still be a good supporter, Ali, and show your displeasure?
Of course you can. I think there are ways and means to do it. I think probably the banners would have sufficed. I think there was a number of banners put out before the game and during the game, just making displeasure known in terms of boardroom decisions and what's gone on this season. I think the walkout is mildly performative for me. I'm not sure that it's really in the best interest of the club or the team. I think it's done to disrupt. I think there are better ways to protest. And I think the vast majority of Rangers fans made their feelings known about it.
Yeah, some of the banners, one of them in particular, this is one of the banners that was out at the ground as well, which basically said, everything from everyone. Fans gave all while you let our standards fall. Another banner was, our loyalty is not a free pass for failure. And one says, time for fans to force change. So at various stages, I think certainly the Union Bears were trying to get that message across, Tom.
Yeah, they were. I think every fan's entitled to their own opinion. I thought the booing when they left from other supporters, I didn't agree with that, Peter.
Why not?
Because I think you're entitled to do what you want as a supporter.
Yeah, but you're entitled to disagree with people as well. If there are Rangers fans in there, and by the way, remember, Tom, there's a lot of Rangers fans have bailed out the club at various stages from 2012 onwards through all the madness that unfolded, but they've continually put their money in there. And if there are some fans who have a belief that is, well, I've backed you through thick and thin. To be a supporter of Rangers, or indeed any other club, is you stick by the club, and I'm not happy with the way you're doing it.
Yeah, I agree with that, Peter, but I think if you are in the Union Bears or you're a supporter and you've paid your money, you can leave whenever you want. I don't think you should be booed for that.
Yeah?
That's just my opinion. I think you can leave after 5 minutes, you can leave after 85 minutes.
Is the democracy your right to boo?
Listen, you can boo if you want, but what I'm saying is I didn't really agree with the booing. I think you're entitled to show your displeasure by walking out at a certain time in the game. They obviously didn't get the traction that they thought that would. Rangers were winning the game comfortably. Everybody, I think, was looking at the stands more than the game at that point. And they left the stadium and they made their point. I think if they were going to do it again, they would go another way about it. I don't think that worked. But as I said, there is sections of the Rangers support who will just back them through thick and thin, and there's sections of the Rangers support who are just unhappy at the minute and they want change in the board. So how they go about doing that, I don't know, but I didn't think that was the right thing to do in terms of the traction that they thought they would get by walking out in the 55th minute, because I just think, you know, I think there was a couple of other people that walked out, Peter, but I think they thought they were going to get more people walking out, and it didn't work like that. So at the end of the day, Peter, they walked out, they made their point, but I didn't agree with other fans booing them for doing it.
I thought the other more telling issue here, Ruffy, was the fact that there was a lot of empty seats. I think a lot of fans are possibly sending a message by saying, listen, we're not going to the game. That is another way that they can send a message to the board. We're not going to the game. It's 15 points the difference between Celtic and Rangers. It's not acceptable.
No, and I think the new chairman's had a meeting with the manager, and they've obviously had a bit of dialogue, and I think the manager is under no apprehension of what's ahead, you know, and football as well. I think a big say will be what players come and go in this month, you know, to see what leeway the new chairman has given them. But again, I think it's all down to results, you know, and Tam's right, you know, leaving the stadium doesn't look good. I think the worst bit is outside the park. You know, after a game, if there's 2,000 or 3,000, outside protesting, I think that's a bigger deal than just walking out during the game. So they've got games ahead. They've got Aberdeen away, then obviously Fraserburgh. It'll be interesting to see how many turn up for that one. And then obviously a hard run of games starting with Man United. So a lot of big games to play for. But I think the majority of the support would like to get behind the team.
Yeah, Ali?
I think it's difficult. I think it's obviously a club where there is a bit of civil war going on between those who wish to maybe accept that the finances at the club mean that they're going to have to accept second best for a while and put your faith in a manager that they believe might be the guy to take them back to the level that they believe they're capable of competing at. I think there have been flashes of it. You know, you maybe look at the game against Celtic, win at the turn of the year and say, you know, if this is a team that can sustain that level of performance and they're capable of going and asking questions. The big question mark, however, is the fact that they don't seem to be able to do it under pressure and they don't seem to be able to do it on a consistent basis. Then you have another section of the sport who are maybe just looking and thinking that the club's been mismanaged and chronically mismanaged for a long time, and that the answers go deeper than maybe just changing a manager. And I think the displeasure is aimed not just at players and management, but also at the hierarchy of Rangers too.
Yeah, listen, Philippe Clement was calling for unity at Ibrox.
You can see it as a positive that still a lot of people are behind everything, but I want to have everybody united. So that's what I want. That's what I wanted last year when I came in, and it was also totally not the case at that moment. But it has to do with performance, and that's normal. We want consistency. I want consistency, and fans want consistency to get better results. And in that way, we have the consistency in the home games. We have now 31 out of 33, I think. We have consistency in our European season, but we didn't have consistency away of home. So those are things to work on with all the squad.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult at the best of times if you have a situation, Tam, where some results have not gone according to plan, so they're angry. You've already mentioned that they have a right to be angry, but the manager, at this moment, apart from his own future, which was constantly being discussed, he's in this situation where he has to try and deflect, and what I think is be clever in the way he addresses this, not to inflame the situation.
Yeah, listen, I think there's no doubt about it. Philippe's under massive pressure at the minute. I know the board came out with the statement saying that results have to improve, and they certainly have. I just feel as if it's just papering over the cracks, same as the Celtic game. This game, I think a lot of the fans are not fooled by it. You know, 3-0 up after 28 minutes. You know, you expect Rangers to be that way, and you know, the team at the bottom of the league, but I don't think a lot of fans are fooled. I think he's finished in the minds of a lot of supporters, and I just think he's one more result away, possibly two. I know they play Aberdeen at home on Wednesday. You know, that's a massive game for them. You know, Aberdeen, big rival every game, but I just feel as if another result away for completely turning. And if that's at Ibrox, then I think, as Ruffy's always said, it's different at home than it is away from home. And I think if Wednesday night comes and they don't win the game, I think you might see the axe fall. But he's right. He's trying to play the game, Peter. He's trying to, you know, he's stuck to that game plan the whole season. You know, we're work in progress. You know, we've not got a lot of money. We're building for the future. It's a long-term project, but I don't think managers get long-term projects now, and particularly at Rangers. So he needs to keep winning games. If he keeps winning games, then he buys himself time. But I just think he's one result away from the axe falling, and that could be Wednesday night.
Yeah, the chief executive was speaking to selected members of the media at the weekend. This is what Patrick Stewart had to say regarding the way ahead, because quite simply a lot of people will be looking at what they are doing at the moment, what the board's going to do long term, not only for the structure, for the recruitment, for the backing of the manager. He says it's a very low likelihood that top quality players are going to be on the market. Even if we can secure a player that fits the profile, bringing them in January means there's no time to bed them in. All of that said, there's still a benefit to the January window, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a complete dead loss. We're going to use our money wisely. Injuries have created challenges, but they're returning, and that will bolster the squad without us having to panic buy. What we want to avoid is any panic buying. Now, quite clearly, from the facts alone, after posting a loss, they've said they need to they need to raise 8 million. So Patrick Stewart, again, choosing his words very carefully there, on the basis that I think he might need to shift a few out before they get one in.
Yeah, I think that would be it, exactly. Also, you know, that I think they're prepared to allow Cyril Dessers to go. I think there might be one or two others that they would allow to go, and I think probably they would need to sell before they can recruit.
I just wonder, what is the solution here on this one? You know, it's all right voicing your displeasure, it's all right walking out of the ground. Some people will decide that they're not coming to the games. And then, of course, you've got to hope, if you're a Rangers fan, that the manager somehow manages to keep this on track and try not let this gap become so huge that it's embarrassing. What's the solution? Because if you get to a point where you're constantly making complaints and you want change, what does change bring? What is change?
What has changed, Peter? I mean, money.
Is it a billionaire Rangers fan? I mean, is that what they think is out there?
I think that's what the fans are pinning their hopes on, a white knight coming in, Peter. And listen, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's the only way out of this for Rangers is hard cash. You can sit and you can see a player trading, and we can cut here and cut that, and you know, recruitment. For Rangers to get closer to Celtic, for me, it's going to take a lot of money, and nobody's got that money at Rangers at the current situation. Nobody's got that money, so you need somebody to come in with deep pockets to back the club, and then even at that, with the new regulations, you can't just go out and splash millions of pounds. So it's a real tough one for a Rangers supporter at the minute. You know, that they don't really see light at the end of the tunnel. You know, and a lot of supporters will think, well, we need to stick with the manager. A lot of them will go, bin the manager. Who do you bring in? It's going to be the same squad of players. So it's not a good time to be a Rangers supporter at the minute, Peter. It's needing serious money thrown at it. And who's going to throw money at a business that has lost 100 and odd million in the last 10, 12 years? No one with brains for me.
I mean, that's the other big dilemma about it, Ruffy, because if you are putting together, any kind of pitch to anyone to come into Rangers, they are going to have to come in on the basis that it's an economy in Scottish football which doesn't look as if it gives you a great return. You're also going to have to pay off a lot of people who've invested in the club with soft loans. And then you're going to have to start this pitch once more to the fans, because the fans have to buy into it. Mm-hmm. Now, whether that's a group, a huge company, or an individual, that's what they're faced with when they're contemplating buying a club of Rangers stature.
Yeah, but I think that's why the two guys were brought in, the CEO, the boy from Man United, because they had their hand on the pulse for new investors. They're the ones who are dealing in big money. You can imagine at Man United there'll be a lot of people out there with a lot of money, obviously, to spend on Man United, but it has been muted that there are people out there prepared to come into Rangers. Sometimes that American company were going to come in, but no, that got hit in the head for whatever reason. So I think if you've got that amount of money, you want to call the shots, and I don't think Rangers are a club who like other people calling the shots. So don't mind you getting you some money and using it to their advantage, but to actually take over what Rangers is all about, they're not happy with that at all.
Yeah, there's a business, argument here for whether it is good business to buy into Rangers. There's also the pressure that comes on the manager and the board, which is quite simply, you are dealing with two different types of generation here, Alison. You're dealing with a generation who believe that the Rangers should be the Rangers of the 9 in a row era. Buying the best players, winning leagues year in, year out. So that there's a decade of dominance. That's a generation of fans. Then there's the young team coming through, who winning a title is sporadic, to say the least.
Yeah, although I do think even those supporters will have dined out on the fact that Rangers were the successful club. Like, they had a culture around them of constantly winning, and the ambition and the dream will always be to recapture that they believe as though that's where the club should be, rather than accepting the fact that they're always going to play now second fiddle to Celtic. And I think that's the source of your anger. That's the source of the frustration amongst the club support, that there seems to be, temporarily or not, but there seems to be an acceptance of where they are and the fact that they're subservient to Celtic at the minute, albeit on a temporary basis. But I think that's a root cause of the anger amongst the support. I think that's the accusation that they're throwing at the board just now.
Yeah, the one thing that I would look at over the decade and beyond, Tam, and this is, I think, unarguable, is the fact that the people who've put in the most money, for Rangers are the supporters. Mm-hmm. They've been asked time and time again to buy into various, shares, various plans, MyJers, you name it. Put your money out there, buy the strips, support the team, buy the season tickets ahead of time, automatically taken out at times. And they have dug deep time and time again, even with the people who have got vast amounts of money who've maybe come in and offered soft loans. It's the supporters en masse that have actually really shown what it's all about to support that
yes,
club.
There's no doubt about that, Peter. Peter, they've kept the club afloat. Supporters, and you're right, from going down the leagues then coming back, the money that the Rangers supporters have gave to the club is extraordinary amount of money in terms of their loyalty. But that's why the banners are getting thrown about at the game at the weekend, taking our loyalty for granted, and maybe they're feeling that way now. And if supporters start to turn their back on the club, then they are goosed. I don't think they will do that. I think the Rangers fans are really loyal, but you're right. You keep going to the well. You keep asking fans for money, and MyJers. You're right. I've got friends who are involved in that, and it's a lot of money. Tickets to buy merchandise and tickets and go to the game, and there's a lot of money getting put into the club, and the supporters are right to ask what you doing with it, and that's the root problem at the minute. We're putting our money in, and you're misspending it, and that's why there's so much anger amongst the support at the minute, that the money that they're putting in and other people are putting in is just getting frittered away, and they're still nowhere near Celtic.
Yeah, I think the season ticket renewal thing, it will come. Yeah. It comes fast now, because season ticket renewals start to go around April time, when you're asking people to commit, to buy in to this for another full season. I think if it remains the same as what it is now, I think that's when you'll get a real barometer of the feeling amongst the club support, because I think there'll be a real reticence of people to put in an average of, say, £500, £600, £700 per person to commit to the same again. I think that's when you'll really have an indication of what the mood is amongst the club support, and then when you get to that stage, you start to force the hand.
Well, the problem is, Ruffy, that stage is coming week by week at the moment, because if we're wondering what the solution is, and obviously Patrick Stewart has got a real job on his hand trying to find a solution which involves money coming in and obviously a blueprint which gets people to buy into Rangers. The second part of it is that the end game is, this season is coming week by week. It's sack the manager, change the board. The results have to keep, they have to get results, because with every drop point comes even more and more anger. It's almost as if they've reached boiling point, it's gone down a little bit. They've reached boiling point again, it's gone down a little bit. They beat Celtic, everything's starting to look better in the garden. Then they have 2 games where they drop points away from home, and it all becomes problematic again.
Yeah, the Rangers manager's not like any other manager. He's got to look at what's left for the rest of the season. He'll be saying to himself, keep the run in Europe going, keep being second, have a good run in the Scottish Cup. There are things that are bonus things that he'll be hanging on to. And that, at the end of the day, for me, will be the one that decides whether he's there or not. Because everybody has a bad result there and then, unless it was a really bad one. I think then the fans would say, right, enough is enough. But as you've said there, is another manager going to change the same players they've got? Because for me, they've just went down the wrong recruitment way. They've tended to go for loan players and bringing older players in. They haven't followed the model that Celtic have got, somebody coming in and selling them on for 15, 20, 25. So that needs to be changed as well. So again, how long? What's the time scale on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Give us your thoughts on that as well. Thank you to so many who have obviously offered their point of view on this. We try and be as balanced as we possibly can on this show. Some opinion you like, some you don't. That's the nature of football. But if you get a chance, hit the subscribe button and give us your thoughts on this issue, especially if you're a Rangers fan who's looking at this whole debacle. There are so many layers to why Rangers find themselves in this predicament. Even from the point that I can remember looking back on, I think Steven Gerrard looking and saying this club has got to strengthen from a position of strength of stopping Celtic with a 10 in a row.
That was the chance for Rangers, I thought. The top 10 in a row, Celtic were reeling. Rangers were on the ascendancy, and I think Steven Gerrard went into the board and says, listen, we need better quality, because Celtic are going to come back and they're going to accept us, they're going to spend money. We need to go and spend money as well, and the board have said, well, we're not going to spend that. And I think the writing was on the wall before Steven Gerrard left. So that was a point, kind of line in the sand where Rangers could have kicked on and really took it to Celtic, but it would have involved heavy money. And I don't think the Rangers board were prepared to do that, and that's why they are where they are just now. So I understand a lot of Rangers fans ire at that, because they thought at that point Celtic were probably maybe there for the taking. Who knows if they were, but Gerrard wasn't backed, and he wasn't backed to the way he wanted, and that's why it inevitably ended up leaving.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure though that there would have been the funds to properly back him in terms of what he wanted to do, whereas Celtic, on the back of one poor season, had resources to go and recruit a new manager. They brought in Ange Postecoglou. He had a decent kitty then to go out and bring in players to basically bolster that squad, and then they went on and won the league. It's amazing, like if you look back at that time, you're thinking, oh, Celtic are a good couple of seasons away now from Rangers. It turns around so quickly, as it can do, and often has. Within football, it can turn quickly, but I'm just not sure that at that point in time Rangers were in a financial position where they could have gone more. If you look at what the wage bill was just a few years ago,
it wasn't smooth though, Ali. It wasn't smooth because Celtic had gone for Eddie Howe.
Yeah, and then
and all of a sudden, in comes a name that nobody had heard of. So it wasn't an absolute gimme that Celtic
Rangers
were
never
going
get the Champions League money either.
Yeah.
Malmo beat them in the qualifier, which was a bit massive blow, I think, for them as well.
And I think the Champions League money has been a real body blow to Rangers.
Champions League money is huge.
Yeah.
You cannot discount.
It can dig you out of a hole right away.
Yeah, well, that was the biggest complaint for Rangers supporters when Rangers were bringing in some money. When they had the run in Europe and they sold a couple of players on, the young boy to Everton. At one stage all the supporters thought there was 50 million or 40 million, and their main complaint was, what did you do with it? Where did it go?
Yeah, Bassey. That was a good time. Yeah. I think the period where it started to seem to be derailed was, of course, not selling Kent and Morelos at the right time. But again, the pressures of don't sell these good players at a point where you're still trying to win the league over Celtic. Listen, the solution if you've got it, tell us about it. As far as the game itself was concerned, in isolation, Rangers are comfortable. St Johnstone are doomed.
Yeah, they look gone, Peter. You know, Simo Valakari seems a very positive guy. You know, wants to play open, expansive football. I'm not sure he's at the right club to do that, to be honest. St Johnstone need to go and spend and get players in immediately in this January window, but I think they're 9 points adrift now. I don't see them coming back for that, and I think they'll just be looking to try and build for next season. But you know, I like to look at him when he first came in, Valakari. You know, he played some nice football, but I just don't think he's got the players to play that way, Peter. And defensively, St Johnstone for me have always been a club that were stuffy, good defensively. From Tommy Wright to Callum Davis and even Craig Levein at times, they were always hard to break down, hard to beat. It's a totally different, you know, way of playing now, tactically, and it just doesn't suit the players that he's got at the minute. So he needs to change the players, and I don't think he's going to get enough time to do that between now and the end of the season.
Well, interestingly enough, I tend to disagree on the basis, Alison, that I think they probably knew right away they were in the mire. They've probably sold it to him on the basis of saying, listen, we might have to go and take a step back, go down into the Championship, regroup, refocus, and you need to be the man to do that. I mean, you can't bring a man in, expect him to... It's a David Gray situation. There's no quick fix. And regardless of people's lunacy on social media, there is no quick fix.
I agree with you on that point. On the point of expecting that they might go down, I'm not so sure, because I think maybe action was taken in a change of manager to prevent that. I think the finances from going from the top flight to the Championship and no guarantee of getting out the Championship quickly because it's such a competitive league.
Can you see him getting billeted by the end of the season?
I don't know that they would sack him. I'm not sure. However, I think they're gone. I don't think it's salvageable now. I think there's an atmosphere around that team where you almost sense that they know it too. That it seems as though it's any other efforts are futile. I think they will keep faith with him. I think they probably have to, but it's a very, very expensive season minimum.
Yeah. And of course, when you're losing in the league, the cup is a welcome break for Simo Valakari.
There is no better moment than to have this cup week now, because for 7 days we don't need to think about the catastrophic position where we are in the league. Now it's a cup. It doesn't matter how bad we have played in a league, what's happening this and this. In cup, we have exactly same possibility to win as Rangers have. All the teams who are in a cup. So that's why it's a beautiful week. We can be light. We don't need to think about this misery what we have, you know, in a league.
Well, at least he's honest about it. There's misery.
I read some St Johnstone fan on social media saying it was like some sort of sick social experiment, putting him into the St Johnstone job. The most positive guy in the world, putting into that job.
See how long it takes
to see how long it takes him to crack and break his spirit. And I think that's true. He does come across as a real bubbly, you know, forward-thinking coach and really positive, but I don't think you'll see the same Simo Valakari in 6 weeks. I think it might end him, to be honest.
To be fair, let's not forget, this is a club that's won 2 trophies, you know?
Yeah, it seems a million miles away now. It really does, you know, with the players that they had then. You know, he just like you're talking about there, he just seems too relaxed for me after getting thumped week in, week out. You know, you would think you would show a bit of anger, show a bit of something. So what he's actually saying there is, Scottish Cup this weekend, we get beaten, who cares?
Just out of curiosity, Ruffy.
No.
I think he was. No,
I think he's feeling the pain, but it's almost laughable that you should suggest he should show a bit of anger. I've been with you 12 years, and we've had some really, really high pressure moments where I've lost the plot. And you have sat there. The only thing that was missing was a cigar and the Hamlet theme from you. A guy I've never seen you angry in my life.
No, that's because the guy you're working with, you know, he'll sort it out. No, I think he's making...
Ali, can I just say something to you? Even in your most volatile moments, you couldn't get him angry. Honestly,
it's a gift, that kind of temperament.
I've seen him angry a couple of times in the golf course.
Have you?
Aye.
Yeah, well...
Once you smashed your trolley, your club.
Oh,
You couldn't get out the bunker.
So I did, yes.
He's big fancy, you know, the thing with trolleys.
Yeah.
And he couldn't. He took about 90. He was like, I was going to throw him a cigar. It was like a Hamlet advert. And he couldn't get out, and then he just got out after about 12 shots, and just walloped it off the face of the.
Well, that's.
And cracked
I would
it.
love to have been there because usually,
It wasn't my trolley, it was Maggie's.
if we're playing tennis and I play a rubbish shot, he just looks at me in that kind of a, you know what I call it, that kind of a Scotland World Cup condescending look, as if, you know, I am so much better than you. I don't know why I'm hanging about with you, you know. Anyway, as far as the contrast between what happened at Ibrox, up at Dingwall, Ross County won Celtic 4. Kyogo with the double angles, and you know, just shows you. By the way, if you don't get the penalty right, you can take it again until you do get it right, and then up pops Luke McCowan as well to make it look like a comfortable 4-1. I thought it was a wee bit harsh on County.
Yeah, I thought Celtic completely dominated the first half. Great goal, Kyogo, you know, great run. You know, wonderful ball in for St Johnstone. And Kyogo gets himself in that little gap in between the defender and the goalkeeper and sticks it away. And I thought Celtic were going to win the game comfortably. Obviously, the penalty kick changes it. Ross County get back in the game.
Is it a penalty?
Oh, it's a penalty kick, and some would argue about a red card, Peter. Me personally, if he gave a red card, I wouldn't have had any complaints. I thought it was a goal. I think he's going to head the ball into the net.
Yeah.
So it's a goal scoring opportunity. So I'm not saying it's either way. It's a stonewall red card or anything. But if the referee gave it, I don't think he would have overturned the red card. But
did you think it was a red card?
I probably think it probably was, Peter. Aye.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a clear goal scoring opportunity, I think it's a red card. So, but he didn't give it, so you know you've got to take it as it is. But yeah, I thought it could have been a red card. Aye.
Yeah, Ruffy.
I wouldn't have given it, but I mean, I could see why it would have been given, the way some of the penalties have been given, the now are not given.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you think it was a red card?
No.
No. Ali.
I didn't. I was surprised he wasn't booked for it. I thought he would have been booked at the time, but I didn't think it was a red.
I thought it was a Stonewall penalty. Ruffy, you buying into that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like the camera stuff all seemed to be from in front of it, and I'd like to have seen it from back, how much actual contact there was. You never really, well, we never got that. I don't know if I got it.
Because right away, he said when the camera panned, you could see him saying,
Yeah.
He's going to
It's
head
a
the ball in
penalty.
the net.
Yeah. So if he says it's a penalty, he knows what he's doing. It's a red card. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when you know,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
a nudge, you knew
Ruffy.
he
Can I
knows.
just say something? You're a keeper, Ruffy. Jordan Amisa.
He had a great game.
Oh, he was man of the match for me.
He was. I mean, I know it was one each with 10 minutes to go or something like that. But Celtic could have been 5 or 6 up by that time if it wasn't for him. I'm not being critical, but I thought he could have done better with Kyogo's header. I think he tried to flick it over the bar.
It's coming a bullet at
I
him.
know, but he's trying to flick it. He's there. He's got a full hand to it.
Yeah.
And I think he's just made a wee bit of a mess of it.
Yeah, I thought that as well. Maybe with the Iranian boy when he was on the left hand side when Scotland had a chance to qualify for the latter stages of the World Cup. I thought you could have
Near
maybe
post.
The
near post, yeah.
Can't get beaten your near post.
No, I know, but when there's 3 Iranians waiting to tap it in that side. No, I mean, I thought he had a great game. Absolutely superb game. But, I mean, going back to the game, if you get back to one each against Celtic and you've got 10 minutes to go, you would think you would come up with a plan to see you at the 10 minutes, you know, but Celtic are just relentless. They just keep coming, chance after chance. You know, with 10 minutes to go, there's going to be another 3 or 4 chances.
Well, this is the thing about it, you know, such is the gap. I mean, apart from anything else, I got it wrong when I said I couldn't see Celtic lose a game again this season. I just thought they were going to go all the way. Rangers, rightly so, deserved all the praise because they clearly done a number on Celtic at Ibrox and were well worthy winners. But you're watching the game, Ali, and you're just actually looking and saying, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before Celtic score. If there was one thing I was going to nitpick on, the decision, the penalty decision, and this VAR, it took too long. It
took forever.
It's
Absolutely
just a nonsense.
forever. Both of them took an age, both penalties. The Celtic penalty, I think, was about 5 minutes or so, wasn't it? It really took forever.
It was long.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the criticisms of VR, and to be fair, I think it got better from what you saw in the first season that it was implemented, but yeah, I thought it was very, very slow on Saturday to come to a conclusion.
Yeah, Kyogo gets a double. Of course, there was that non-story last week, suggesting he was going to join Atlanta. But Brendan Rodgers well happy with him. I see him every day. I see his work. I see his intensity. Maybe he scores so much that he feels he doesn't have to celebrate madly all the time, or maybe he was too cold. This is Brendan Rodgers today talking about this. He says, but there's always speculation. There will always be wee bits and pieces around him, but he's fine and he'll travel tomorrow. The biggest thing is, if a player doesn't want to be here, then go. And then it's at that point the club has to get the best possible deal. I don't see the point of keeping someone if he doesn't want to be here. You always have to be ready, and that's our message. I think Brendan Rodgers just said that to fire it out to many a person in the squad who may well be, some of them might be getting that itchy feet or saying, why am I not getting my chance?
Yeah, Celtic's got a massive squad, Peter. There'll be players probably sitting in the bench or sitting in the stand that are not happy and probably want to go, want their agents. I'm sure that Brendan and the club will be dealing with that. And you're right, he's firing a warning shot to every player in the squad. If you don't want to be here, fine, you can go. We'll replace you. There's nobody irreplaceable at the club. So, yeah, I don't see anything in that with Kyogo. I think that he's not had a great season for me in terms of goals, but I think you could see his quality. He played just off the eye at the weekend, and his little flicks round the corner, the positions he took up, Peter, the goals he scored.
His first goal is classic Kyogo.
It's clever. It's a great run. It's a great ball in from Johnson, but the run makes the goal. He just puts it into an area. He doesn't see Kyogo just making the run, but Kyogo gets himself in there and finishes it well. But you can see he's just a clever footballer. He's a class player, and he's not a great season for me. And he maybe takes a wee bit of stick at times for the Celtic support, but I think he's still a key player for Celtic, and you'll see him in the big games as well, particularly against Rangers and in Europe. He usually steps forward and gets you a goal. So £10 million, I think he's worth more than that to Celtic.
I'm amazed that you're saying that. I don't know anybody who's. I haven't heard any rumblings about Kyogo, even when he's not scoring. I just think at times you have to play a certain way to get the best out of him. He needs balls flashed across the 5-6 yard box, where he's at his absolute
It's quite
best.
interesting actually playing him and Ida from the start at the weekend. I thought, Ida's had quite a bit of criticism. How much, though, I don't know, comes from the fact that Celtic paid quite a bit of money for him. I think that can sometimes be a bit unfortunate for a player when you're playing with that level of expectation. You've got to match up to a particular kind of transfer fee, but I thought the two of them actually played quite well together. I thought it gave Celtic a different kind of shape to them.
That old two up front thing, Ruffy.
It wasn't quite two up.
One on, one off.
But even Ida for the first goal, it's Ida that plays in Alistair Johnson for Kyogo's first goal. I thought it was quite interesting. But like you, I think most people would recognise what Kyogo brings to Celtic. But I would agree with it. I don't know that he's not been quite as prolific as he has been in recent
I think you have to give the other teams credit for that. I think the first team, the first year he came in, nobody knew anything about him. He was scoring goals for fun. He was a yard faster than any centre-half. The way Celtic played, the firing balls in for wide areas, they couldn't catch on to it. But now they've caught on to it. That's why I think the problem is for Kyogo is other teams know the strength of Celtic now. They know where he's going to score his goals for. So what they do is they pack the 18-yard box and make it really hard for him. That's why I thought at the weekend I'm coming off, and look at the ball he played in for the penalty. The boy's got more than just being half a yard faster than everybody else.
The problem you've got is Celtic now play two wide men that are not naturally left or right footed. I think you play Kuhn on one side who's left footed playing the right, always wants to cut into his left foot, Peter. Yep. You've got Maeda on the other side who wants to cut into his right foot. So Ruffy's right. Ange Postecoglou, first season, second season, ball wide, bang. Abada, Jota, balls in right away. And that's where they got a lot of his goals from. Now, the inverted wingers are coming inside and they're trying to slip balls through. It doesn't really suit Kyogo. He needs balls flashed across like Alistair Johnson at the weekend. So I think that has been a big part in the reason why he's not scored as many goals this year.
And when Ruffy and I used to, many years ago, obviously working in television, then Ruffy obviously worked on radio. We worked with a lot of pundits, but the world's moved on now, and with you getting your own show on Wednesday, will we hear more of that chat? Inverted wingers, a low block, a high press. Is that the kind of chat you're going to be giving us on Wednesday?
Or I might just stare blankly into the screen. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Ruffy, you don't really hold out much hope for Tam on the Wednesday programme.
I'll be here. I'll be sitting. I'll be here Wednesday. I'm coming in.
Popcorn. Was that what time does that mean?
Michael Jackson. But the thing is, with the likes of Scott Allen, Ryan McGowan, and your first guest, John Rankin, who is a fabulous guest, I thought it was great of you to get John, because obviously you need somebody who's going to talk so that your brain can start thinking where the hell you're going. I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited for you. You know, Footballers Football Show, it's guys who've played the game chatting about it.
Yeah, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it, Peter. As I said, Scott and Ryan, I've got a lot of experience, played at a very high level. So has John, played now managing. So it'll be good to see his insight into the difference between playing and managing.
Yeah.
Which is something I've always thought. As a player, you're always selfish. You look after yourself. You get yourself prepared. As a manager, you've got 20, 25 players to keep happy. So it'll be interesting to get his insight into how that's changed from his playing days.
Yeah, and of course, Alison, you were the one who suggested this morning, let's have a sweep to see how long he'll last before we eventually shunt him off to BBC Scotland Channel 115, where there's just
3 AM show.
There's just tumbleweed.
I think you know that's not true. I think you know that.
He's actually
And a
started.
big hello to you,
He's,
truckers out
yeah.
there.
He's actually started practicing the Gaelic.
You're going to get...
What was that?
Oh, that was a show.
You take the mickey
That's
out
a
of
very,
Gaelic.
very good show.
By the way,
A very good show.
Cancel him. Get him off.
that's
Get me on 5 days. Get him off. Insulted a whole nation.
Yeah, well, 1%. Let's crack on. Aberdeen Hearts. God, Keskinen, what a sitter. From a ball that you would absolutely die for, Ruffy. Aberdeen, great chance to go 1-up. And then, of course, now I'm led to believe George Grant, the Hearts player's getting it in the neck from Jambos for missing that penalty.
I thought it was a great save. I think the penalty save itself was fantastic, but the save he had for the header was equal to that. And he kept, obviously, getting his team a point. But, you've got to be brave enough to take a penalty. I don't know why he's getting stick. Obviously it was to win the game, but, you've got to say that he was the first one up there to take it. So
Yeah.
I thought it was a turning point. It could have been a turning point for Hearts, getting a win there.
Yeah, for Aberdeen, the misery goes on, Ali. I mean, it's incredible. I was looking back at, the thing to do is quite simply compare other managers who were under greater scrutiny when once the wheels come off for some of the managers like Stephen Glass and Barry Robson, they were out the door.
Yeah, I think he's got credit in the bank because of
Good
obviously
start.
how he started and
Yeah.
the amount of points that they amassed. If he'd had a start the way if he'd started in the kind of ilk and run that he's on now, he would never have lasted as long.
Yeah.
But I think that's inoculated him against certain kind of criticisms. But yeah, I think they desperately need something, and I don't know that they'll get it on Wednesday. I think they're at Ibrox on Wednesday night. I think Rangers' record against Aberdeen on home soil is pretty decent. Maybe different if the game had been up at Pittodrie, but I think you would fear for them too on Wednesday night.
Well done, Ali. You've added from Carnaptious last week, which brought out 1,000-yard stare from him, inoculated, just left him completely and utterly gutted there.
Something to do with vaccines or something.
Oh, well done, Tam. There you go. By the way,
Shot in the arm.
Every day's a school day.
absolutely. If you get inoculated into Wednesday's programme, it'll be fantastic. Kai Rolls leaving for the MLS. I mean, it's a bit of money for Hearts. I was waiting for the big signings coming, and I was waiting for the, here comes the Jamestown Analytics. I'm waiting for all these signings.
We're all waiting in this.
I know, where are they?
Yeah, but I think I said this last week. I don't think the other clubs have got loads of money to throw about. I know Aberdeen splashed out. I think it was 500,000 or 600,000 in the boy for somewhere. But I think it's loans all the way now. I think all you'll do is see. I think Dundee have got a contact with. Is it Burnley? Players will come in for Burnley. Hibs have got a contact with somebody. You'll get players coming in for there. I think they'll all be using their link up with other teams.
You see Brighton players coming in then?
I see, yeah. Fringe players and any other club that is it Dundee connected to a Mexican club, aren't they? I I think they are. That's why they're getting the Mexican players. I think you'll see maybe a couple coming in for their team. I think
You
that's
see that on Narcos, and you just
Dundee Narcos.
that's a good show. I'd like to watch that program.
No, I think it's loans all the way. No money getting splashed about.
Okay, Ruffy.
Jim spends for sombrero.
Absolutely brilliant. I can just imagine it. Jim Escobar Spence. Anyway, listen, it's Aberdeen going down to Rangers on Wednesday. Dundee have got Celtic on Tuesday. How do you see the Dundee Celtic, first of all? Give us your prediction.
I think Celtic will win. I think they've regrouped since that defeat at Ibrox. I think they look fairly comfortable, fairly solid. I think there is absolutely no pressure on them now, given the gap that exists. I think Dundee will try and make it as awkward as possible. I think they'll probably try and set up the way they did against Rangers last week. They'll just try and pack the space, maybe catch Celtic on the break and just limit them as much as possible, just to try and prevent them from opening them up.
I'm interested to see the difference in how Celtic go about trying to break down Dundee as they adopt that similar pattern.
Yeah, I think Dundee will play the same way. I think they realise that, the old firm have got better players and they've got to sit in and they've got to try and pick their moments to go and attack and the counter-attack. But
you still think they'll win the playoff?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly, Peter. I think they need to tighten up at the back. I know they got a great result during the week, but I think you can look at any club. You've got league table there in front of you. I think St Johnstone are gone, Peter, but you look at the next 5 or 6 clubs, there's only 4 or 5 points, so anybody can get sucked into that playoff.
Yeah.
Ross County are obviously everyone's favourites, but they just won 3 away games in the spin. If they can sort their away form out, their home form's pretty strong. So, yeah, I think anyone could get sucked into that, even St Mirren, Kilmarnock, but I think Celtic will eventually break them down. They've just got the quality. It'll be interesting to see if Maeda and Kuhn are back fit, but I just think Celtic got better and just win. As I said to you on many occasions, if Celtic play really well, they'll win 3 or 4. If they don't, they'll still win the game, and that's the difference.
Well, Kuhn trained today for Celtic, so they'll be hoping he is going to be back. One team that I presume you're not going to suggest is going to be in the playoff is the Hibs, because they're flying. I mean, I was speaking to one of our reporters, Cara, who was there, and, I think Cara and I went through to Easter Road maybe, 6-7 weeks ago, sat in the press box and looked and thought, what is happening with this team? But now it's a transformation. 3-1 win.
It is a great result, Peter. Martin Boyle back to his best. He's had a stop-start season, but I think he scored 6 goals in the last 7 or 8 games. He's really came to form at the right time for Hibs, and they're just churning out wins now. And these are the games you would think they would drop points, but totally dominated the game, deserved to win. I think 9 points or 8 points off of 3rd place now. Mathematically, the league title is still in play for Hibs. Celtic are not uncatchable, but as I said, I think that they'll maybe be targeting 3rd.
Yeah, every now and then, Ali, you've got to react to lunacy, and there it is. I listen to his every word just to see if there's any nonsense comes out of it, and there's the classic. But one thing that you can't deny them, Ruffy, is this run now. We did say that, and I stick by it with the likes of Simo Valakari as well. You have to give a manager the chance to bed in, get his ethos of how he wants the team to play. If it is good football and they haven't got the players, then you've got to give him the chance to go and have a transfer window. David Gray's got a chance maybe to get a few players in this transfer window, but you've got to give credit to him with the run they're on and the players that are all playing. Boyle got a double, Triantis. Great credit to them.
Yeah, and he's getting a wee rub of the green now as well. I mean, I know Hibs were well in command, but there was a time in that game when Motherwell scored, when Motherwell looked as if they were the team that were going to get something out of that game, and the wee rub of the green, they got a penalty to take the pressure off them. Stephen O'Donnell fouling the boys. So, no, from where they were then and now, it's different. They're winning games. There's certain players in the team beginning to show the form that they should have been shown at the beginning of the season. So, no, well done to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen Kirkwood says, Peter, I think David Gray is a fantastic example, possibly the best I've seen for a while, of why teams should stick by a manager. I think there was a period, and there's a period in England, in English football as well, Ali, where suddenly it just became knee-jerk reactions, sack them, in the short space of time. And Scottish football at times I think some chairmen and chief executives are starting to listen to too much of a small minority of a fan base.
And I think Hibs is actually your case in point of how quickly judgment was passed on managers and how quickly decisions were made. I think we've spoken about it often. I think you get to a point where when you're going through a succession of managers, it points to a bigger issue within a club than just towards a coach. And I think Hibs actually are due credit for withstanding some of that pressure, because I think there were moments where you might well have felt as though you had to change it, and I think having stuck by him and given him a bit of time, they're getting their reward now.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple of key instances here, Peter. I think that the fact that he'd sacked the previous 3 or 4 managers in jig time went in his favour, and the board were getting the chairman, you know, okay, Ben Kensel, they were all getting slaughtered. And I think if they'd have pulled the trigger on David, I think they were gone as well, and they turns the attention upstairs. So I think those went in his favour, but I'm not taking anything away for David. I think he's went in a fantastic run. I'm glad they stuck with him. You know, I was quite consistent and give him time. It was, I think they'd won 1 in 14, bottom of the league. For a club the size of Hibs, that is, you know, not good enough. So you could understand why they would have done it. But you're right. I think the guy Stephen's right there. I think it's a great example of clubs sticking with a manager, particularly a young one, his first job.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get on to Vale, red card.
Yeah.
Yes. No argument.
No argument for me.
Okay. Sometimes
I didn't think he was the last man.
he didn't need to be last man. He nearly broke his ankle.
Wiped him
No,
out.
he wiped him out from
115.
behind. There was a couple of occasions like that last year that somebody took somebody out for the sake of the team and got a yellow card. They never get sent off.
Yeah.
I think it was a Rangers game, Rangers
Yeah.
Hibs.
So not a yellow card.
Yellow
Not
card,
just
yeah.
A yellow card, just
Yeah.
not a red card.
No.
Okay. Ali, you might as well.
Red card for me.
Red card. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
70s, Ruffy.
Yeah. Well, on that basis, sometimes I like to defend my old mate, because sometimes people have got short memories, and I'm going to give it to Hugh Burns right now, Ruffy, because he's put in a message in here just before we talk about St Mirren Dundee United. He says, Ruffy shouldn't have been between the sticks in Argentina. It should have been Bobby Clark. Which 1978.
Bobby was there, yeah.
Yeah, but with all due respect, Hugh, we didn't have a long hard look at
That's
yourself.
going to hurt Ruffy deeply.
Not a chance. You know why? Because the facts tell you Ruffy played, but Ruffy was absolutely top drawer. There's Aberdeen.
I don't remember Bobby Clark being good in a night out anyway.
Yeah, which is one of the big reasons why Ruffy was there. But no, Bobby Clark was a great goalkeeper, fantastic goalkeeper. But Hugh, I would suggest to you, just because of obviously my age, yeah, your man was the top drawer. He was the top goalkeeper in the country, and if it hadn't been for some managers who denied him a big move, Ruffy would have been playing down south. If there was Bosman in 1978, he would not have been playing with Partick Thistle or even Hibernian. No disrespect to those
Jim
clubs.
McLean contract, aye?
3 year and a 3 year option.
Yeah. And
short term for Jim, innit?
well, not only that, by the way, but if you decided you wanted to leave and the manager didn't want you to leave, they could stick you in the reserves and you were never seen again. Is that fair, Ruffy?
I think it's Tom you should be looking at, not me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. And if you're going to win a game, Ali, you might as well win it with an overhead kick. What a goal.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. A real sickener, right enough, for St Mirren to earn that one, and the fact they missed a penalty as well. I think he'll be sore. I think they'll be really frustrated not to have taken anything from it. But Jim Goodwin, he's had a fantastic start to the season.
What a season it's been for him.
It's great. I think there was a stat come up. Many goals is it after 85 minutes in a game this season? They've scored about 12 goals or something.
Yeah.
But
are they pretty to watch, Ruffy?
I think they've got players in there that can excite you. You know, I don't think they go and sit in and spoil games. You know, I think they've got players, big boy up front, you know, can score a goal or two.
Bobby.
Wee Ross Dockett is back again. And Kevin Holt at the back. They defend particularly well. Their goalkeeper has been the goalkeeper of the year for me.
Jack Walton.
Walton. Unbelievable saves this year.
Good penalty save.
Yes, excellent.
Yeah. Can I just ask you then?
It was a poor penalty. I have to say, I thought it was a poor penalty.
What a great
We're going to
penalty.
talk about that penalty. Can we talk about that?
Is it a penalty?
No, it's scandalous.
I thought, on first viewing, I
But
thought that,
even
see,
other
you
even
go
other
back-
view,
No, he actually he
kicks
takes his leg out. He does.
I'm having it.
No.
No, I thought
I thought he dived after it, the contact.
the first time I saw it, I thought the same. I thought there was no contact at all. When I watched it back the second time, I think when you see it from another angle, he wipes his standing leg, takes his leg right away from him.
Did you go to VAR in the house?
I did.
Yeah,
7
absolutely.
times.
Dundee
20 minutes.
United were very lucky.
The other thing about them, the reason why I was one of our journalists mentioned the fact is they're terrible to watch, and at the end of the day, there's many ways to win a game, but they do like a lunge into the box, don't they?
They do. Listen, they're playing their strengths, and they're third in the league for a reason. You know, they're hard to break down, hard to beat, score late goals, and they're getting a wee rub of the green as well, because I thought St Mirren had chances to win that game.
Definitely did, absolutely. Thank you to so many of you for giving us your views as well on our feed. It's always good to read out as many of them as we possibly can. And also thank you to so many of you for showing your support for all our programming, Women's Football Show, the Journos, a lot of great feedback from the Journos programme. Tam will be taking over on a Wednesday, the Footballers Football Show, with special guests. I do hope you'll support him for that, because it's going to be a real insight, as Tam mentioned there, into managers, players, former players, just giving us an insight into their time playing football, the thoughts of the modern day footballer, and Tam, Scott and Ryan. I think it will be good crack for them. And there's lots of changes and lots of other programmes coming up on our channel that I do hope you will enjoy, because PLZ Soccer is giving you more content than any of the other major broadcasters when it comes to covering so many different areas of football in this country and beyond, Ruffy.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I have to say, I've just been biased, but I don't think there are many other companies, sports companies, covered as much as we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Well said, Alan. And over and above that, if you get a chance, we will give you our opinion, and you can give us yours. We'd love to hear from you on that. If you download the app, you get all the breaking news at your fingertips. We did Dundee Celtic. Did everybody just... Was it a Celtic win without any...
Yeah, 3-1 for me, Celtic.
Ruffy?
2-0 Celtic.
2-1 Celtic.
Okay, I'm going to go 3-0 Celtic. Rangers Aberdeen, Ruffy, on the Wednesday.
2-1 Rangers.
2-0 Rangers.
3-0 Rangers.
3-0 Rangers. Okay, I'm going to go 2-1 Rangers on this one, but the misery for Aberdeen continues. The slide down the table is absolutely incredible. And who do we think is going to finish third? Have we changed our mind? I mean, there's no point in asking you, because you said Aberdeen. Just give them third place now, so there's no point in looking at him.
Oh, God, that's a hard one, no?
Yeah. Dundee United?
Yeah, I'll go Dundee United.
Yep. Okay. Ali?
Yeah, I think it's pretty wide open, actually, at the minute. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I actually think Hibs might be a late shout for it.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know if
there
I've
we
just
are.
left too much.
Anytime I like.
Yeah, absolutely. You doing a dinner in Edinburgh? Is that why you're going down that road? Okay. So just before we finish, it must be surreal for David Moyes getting ready to take Everton for the first time as the manager, and of course, big job, new stadium coming up. What a time for him!
Yeah, it's a big job.
I wish him well.
Yeah, I hope he does well, Peter. I think he's hard done by at a few clubs now. West Ham, Man United. He'd done really well at Everton first time. They say you should never go back, but I think it's a great opportunity for him. All he's got to do is keep them in the league this season, and then next season they move into that nice stadium, and I think there'll be new ownership and stuff like that. So no, I think that just keep them up this season, and I think they can go and have a real go to it next year.
Yeah, and just on a little footnote to that briefly, Ali, over the last month, I think it's an indication. Is it an indication that maybe foreign owners have less empathy with anybody in their predicament and their contribution to a club? Sean Dyche sacked, not even a mention of him in 75 words about his great efforts in keeping Everton in that division.
Yeah, I think so. You don't have any kind of emotional tie. You're coming in for one purpose only, and it's to appropriate the club, make some money, and try and get the best out of it. I don't think you have anywhere near an understanding of what the connection might be with individuals to the club.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck to David Moyes. Thank you, Stephen Kirkwood, who's posted a lovely message, which I think is indicative of the great people that we have watching the show and listening to the show on the podcast when they download it. Lots of people are telling us they listen to it walking around parks, in their house, you name it, just with the AirPods in as well. If they can't watch it on the YouTube channel, they catch it in the download on the podcast. And Stephen Kirkwood says, great show, Peter. I always like it when I can join in the live show. And I hope Tam is up for the challenge. Good luck, which is a lovely point. Obviously, it's going to be nervy for you. Your first one, nobody else knows. Your first one, you just got to get it over. Give us a little feel. Give us a little feel of how it's going to look to the main camera, Tam. What are you?
Just like, just got to remember, it's not just like David Gray. Hang on in there, it'll get better.
Remember the guy Scatman John used to do this? Remember the Scatman John? That could be me on Wednesday.
Anyway, fantastic. We wish you the best of luck in that one. Thank you to so many of you for watching the programme near and far. Download the app, hit the subscribe button. From Ruffy, from Alison, from Tam and myself. Don't forget, the Women's Football Show is out tomorrow. We'll have the journals coming up on Thursday. Wednesday, it's Tam McManus, it's Ryan McGowan and Scott Allen with John Rankin for the Footballers Football Show at 4 o'clock. Thank you today for listening and watching.